Hey, it's the announcement guy. I'm here with my good friend Stacy. I want to tell you about summer camps that are coming up. All kinds of camps. What do we got going?
Oh my gosh, we have camps for 2 years old on up through age 18. We got Sprout Camp for the 2 to 5 year old set, Rainbow Day Camp for ages 5 to 10, Adventure Camp for 11 to 14, and then CSL Teen Camp out in Oregon for our teens. And you can find all of this information on the Mile High Church website. Click on that Youth and Family tab right at the top, Camp Info.
Wow, we got some camps. Here's what's coming up.
Join us for an inspiring and energizing evening of heartfelt music from beloved Gary Lynn Floyd on Wednesday, March 22nd. Gary Lynn Floyd is a prominent singer-songwriter in the New Thought movement and has previously graced Mile High Church with his presence as a guest artist. He will perform his classic hit songs from his latest album, Then and Now, the 10th anniversary edition. Sacred Saturday, Seeing with New Eyes with Jackie Harris. Discover new ways of looking at spiritual practice by making it personal. On March 25th, Sacred Saturday with Jackie Harris offers a chance to look at what is hurting your heart and discover ways to use that pain to guide your spiritual practice.
We're excited that this year we're going to have flowers again on our stage for Easter. But even more importantly than that, we're having a fundraiser using those plants to be able to support our Title I schools so that the children can have lunches during the summer. So go to our website, www.milehighchurch.org, and get more information about how you can participate in this great project.
Okay, so we got camps. If you got kids, we got a place for them. When can they register?
You can register today.
Oh my God, I had no idea. Have a great week.
Good morning, Mile High. Great to be with you again this morning, and I'm honored to be here on Choir Sunday. So we invite you to sing this song with us. It goes like this. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Here we go. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
Oh, good morning, Mile High Church. Good morning, Mile High Choir. Yay. And to our band, And to our wonderful Gary Lynn Floyd. So glad to have you all with us right here in our beautiful sanctuary in Lakewood, Colorado. And welcome to all of you from around the world tuning in to be with us today. We are delighted to have you here. And we are starting a new series today, a 3-part series called Wisdom of the Heart. And so right away, as we start our service, I want to invite us into our hearts. I want to invite each one of us to just take a deep breath and feel that breath in the heart space and just feel the opening of the heart, opening our heart to each other, opening our heart to everything that occurs here today in music opening our heart so that we can hear the message and we can be present in the highest and best way that we can be. And so when we are connected to our heart, we are the best version of ourselves. Oh gosh, I just gave away my talk already. Oh well. I'll still do it anyway, I think. Okay? Sounds good. And as we speak our vision and mission this morning, let's do so with that heart space open within us and feel our resonant voice heartfully say together, first off, our vision, oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. As we feel that and sense that, let us feel that centering presence upon us, through us, and as us as we head now into our prayerful time. We're going to sing together, have a few moments of silence together, and then there's plenty of Michelles here today. Reverend Michelle Scavetta will pray us in. So please join us.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
How good it is to be in the stillness. To settle in, allowing that sacred breath to breathe in, through, and around us in every moment, recognizing all of the ways that God shows up through the sunrise, through the warmth of the sun, through the laughter of our children, through the eyes of every person we meet. God is right there, everywhere present. How good it is to recognize all of the ways that people around the world celebrate this presence, gathering together in circles, in mosques, in temples and churches, out in nature, being still to that presence that is ever flowing, ever loving, ever guiding each and every one of us. And how good it is to be in spiritual community today, right here at Mile High Church, in this beautiful sanctuary of love, recognizing each person that is physically here present, as well as everyone who is connecting online, to tap into and to celebrate the love of our community, the sacredness, and how good it is to allow ourselves to open, to deepen, to be available to that still presence. And as we move into our time together today, may we allow our hearts to open more. As we take another sacred breath together, we allow the divine to express uniquely as each and every one of us. And as we stay open to the words of wisdom of the message today, through the melody of the songs, and through the connection of our community, may we remember that we are a beloved child of God. And so we just allow this time together to be blessed, knowing that each and every one of us are a blessing in the world. And how grateful I am to recognize this, to celebrate this, to anchor into this. And I simply allow it to be. And so it is.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's error, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender. Let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore. Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's there, let me love. May I
Some inspiration today from Brené Brown. The root of the word courage is cor, the Latin word for heart. Courage originally meant to speak one's mind by telling all one's heart. And from Howard Thurman, life moves at a deeper level than the objective and the data of our senses. We are most alive when we are brought face to face with the response of the deepest thing in us to the deepest thing in life. And from my favorite Irish poet, John O'Donoghue, one of the greatest treasures in the world is a contented heart. When we befriend the twilight side of the heart, we discover a surer tranquility where the darkness and the brightness of our lives dwell together. We gain the courage to search out where the real thresholds in life are, the vital frontiers, the parts of our life that we have not yet experienced. Beyond work, survival, relationship, even family, we become aware of our profound duty to our own life.
Open your mind and unfold your heart. Relax your senses and feel every part. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Breathe every breath in. Release your cringe. Love without waiting, without waiting. Slowly unhinge. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. You can stop waiting for love to find you. Look inside your heart. Love's already who you are. It's already who we are. So lift up your voice. Lift it up now, now, and let it be heard. Let it be heard. Tell me your story. Tell it to me. And don't leave out a word. Not a word, no. 'Cause I think I have been there too. I'm a seeker just like you. And you ain't got a thing to fear. It looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Yeah. Lay it all down, down, down. Lay it all down. Open your mind and unfold your heart. Yeah.
Oh, what a wonderful musical morning. First of all, choir directed by Stacy Landis. Our great band today, Bijou, Mike, and Rob, yes. And Gary, aren't you doing something really special Wednesday night here? Yeah.
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
My greatest hits, had they been hits.
They're hits with us, Gary. They're hits with us, yes. Wonderful. So Gary will be over in the community center Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for a concert with him. It's on a love offering basis, so you're welcome to join him for that. It's going to be fantastic. Looking forward to that. I heard a rumor that there's a special guest in the house today. Our community is part of the Centers for Spiritual Living, an international organization with centers all over the globe. And our brand new executive director, I believe, Reverend Michelle Medrano is here. Are you here, Reverend Michelle? There she is. Oh, she's right down front. There she is. Stand up and let us send love and appreciation for you. Thank you. We love you. We support you in your new role. And if there's anything way we can support Centers for Spiritual Living, we're here as a part of the community. So thank you. Glad to have you here with us. Oh boy. So this service so far, definitely, are you in the love boat? Yeah. The love church. Here we are. We are starting a new series today. This is a wonderful tradition that we have at Mile High Church. The 3 or 4 Sundays before Easter, we have a series usually called Spring Renewal. And this year we're doing a 3-part series called The Wisdom of the Heart. And we're doing it a little bit differently this year. Often we have one speaker do all 3 Sundays, and this year we've split it up. So I get to start today. Next week, Reverend Josh will be doing part 2, and then Dr. Roger will do part 3. So it's going to be a bunch of love Sundays, the wisdom of the heart. Yeah, that's a good thing, isn't it? I like it. It's very exciting. So thank you for being here for part 1, whether you knew you were coming for this or not. I really wanted to start the series off with the title, The Intelligent Heart, the intelligence of the heart. And the reason I wanted to do that is that I had been hearing a lot lately of people referring to the heart as the little brain. And I didn't know what that meant exactly. And I was curious about it. And so I did some research on the little brain. I consulted the famous doctor, Dr. Google, and read a whole bunch of articles and research papers, delved into the Heart Math Institute a bit. They continue to do huge numbers of studies about the connection that the heart has. And here's what I discovered about this. In 1974, apparently, French researchers were doing an experiment where they stimulated the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve is the nerve that runs through the whole nervous system. And they found an electrical response that surprised them, that allowed them to deepen their research on what's really going on here. And the response suggested that the heart and the nervous system were not simply following directions from the brain alone, but rather the autonomic nervous system and the communication between the heart and the brain were much more complex than they realized. That the heart seemed to have its own type of logic and even acted independently of the signals sent from the brain. This spawned a whole new study, a whole new area, discipline called neurocardiology back in the 70s. Now, one of their early findings was that the heart is this complex neural network, and it's sufficiently extensive to be characterized as a brain in the heart. And it is commonly, it's got a whole bunch of names to it. I'm not going to go into the details of the names. I had to look at my notes because there's so many detailed names in it. So you can consult Dr. Google and learn more about it if you want. But here's what really, really caught my attention about this research. In terms of heart-brain communication, it's generally well known and accepted, I've thought this all my life, that the brain sends signals down through the body, through the nervous system, and into the heart. But this awareness that the heart also sends signals up to the brain really surprised researchers. And they said what they discovered because of the way this works, the heart sends more information to the brain than the brain ever sends to the heart. Isn't that interesting? And so this spawned for me the intelligence of the heart. Today, to look at how it is that we may have been ignoring our little brain, discounting our little brain, minimizing our little brain for the sake of what we believe to be the big brain, when in actuality, it's probably the opposite. This is where our intelligence truly lives. And so today I really want to discover and invite us to step into that intelligence, because this discipline of study is showing us the potential of humanity. And it seems like we've thought that this was the secret to our success, our brain, our mind, was if we could just get enough smart people in the world to get stuff done, that things would be important. And so this research showed me, my first talking point is, it's not enough to know. It's just not enough to know. That we've revered our brain, we've revered our mind, we've revered knowledge for years. And we've thought and we've told our children and we've been told ourselves that a huge part of our value has to do with how smart we are, what grades we've gotten, how many degrees we have, whether we got one or not. That to be valuable in our world is to be a smart, intelligent person. And I am not minimizing that at all today. It is a wonderful gift if you're a brainiac, like my husband is a math expert. I am not at all. I can add, but that's good enough for me, right? And subtract too sometimes, which is helpful. And I love Sherlock, the BBC production of Sherlock, in this episode called The Woman, where the woman says to Sherlock, brainy is the new sexy. Some of us who want to think that our sex appeal is how smart we are and how intelligent we are. And that's absolutely true too. But it's not the most important thing about you or I. And that may be something we haven't realized, or we realize later as we grow into ourselves and become more authentic, we start to wake up and say, gosh, maybe it doesn't matter as much as I thought that I can pull out all these facts from nowhere and I can recite books and share different things. Maybe what matters is, can I love myself and others? Can I show that love and express? Can I express my emotions in a powerful way? So the first thing I'm inviting us to do is to wake up to, it isn't as important what you know, it's also important what you feel. That feelings and emotions are important. And I felt for years that our teaching teaches this. All of the New Thought teachers throughout the ages have taught us that in order to manifest the life we want to live, we've got to be in touch with our feelings, because it's not enough just to be able to think happy, nice thoughts. It's also that we have to feel them. So any of us who've been discounting or saying, oh, feelings, they don't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm in touch with my feelings. Oh, I don't need to do my emotional work. What really matters is what I'm thinking. We're missing the boat in terms of creating the life we'd most like to live. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, in Living the Science of Mind, says, the real creative power of the mind is deeper than the intellect. It passes into the realm of feeling and acceptance, yet it is the intellect or self-conscious faculties that must speak the word in order that every obstruction may be cleared away. We could coin no better expression than to say that God speaks to the heart through a language of feeling which is affirmative. So it does none of us any good from the standpoint of being a co-creator of our lives to avoid our feeling nature, to avoid the heart, to think that people who are filled with feelings and emotions are somehow weaker. In fact, I would assert today that the strongest, most centered, and powerful people are people who are in touch with their smarts and their hearts. right? The combination. It has to be both and. It can't be one or the other. It must include an awakening to that heart space within us, to that little brain. And that part of what Ernest Holmes is telling us and reminding us is that that heart sends its messages up to the brain so that we can think new thoughts and have new ideas and have more balanced thoughts. Whereas if the brain is running everything, doesn't our mind talk us out of how great we are? Doesn't our mind want to talk us out of the possibilities of life? Doesn't our mind sometimes be the worst culprit for, as we're moving forward, shutting us down? Doesn't the mind try to say to us, no, don't feel that, don't feel that. That's too much. But today we're looking at that intellect and saying, you know what if it's not too much? What this is saying to me, what this means to me, is that it means that being heart smart is not just about eating Cheerios or anything like that. That being heart smart is just as important, if not more important, than being head smart. It means that it's time for us to wake up to this, and I think to hire people, hang out with people, cultivate friendships, elect people to leadership who are just as heart smart as they are head smart. I don't know about you, but I'm noticing a lot of really smart people are doing some pretty dumb things. Oh, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one noticing that. Right? So just because someone's smart doesn't necessarily mean they're the greatest leader for us. So being heart smart is valuable. It means that we get to embrace and look at our dreams and be with them. It means that it's time to stop telling our children to stop crying and to not be so full of their dreams. It's time for us to tell ourselves new messages about who we are from the standpoint of this heart space. It means you gotta have heart to be successful in life. You just gotta have heart. And how do we do that? Wow, we've got to really stop avoiding our feelings. We've got to start letting ourselves feel our feelings and emotions, and I know it can be difficult. I was raised in a household where there was a key parent who told me and showed me and threatened me for being so emotional. And I fought long and hard to regain that emotional life that I was missing in my youth, and now that I've got it, here's some things that I notice about myself and that I notice in my passionate desire to be heart smart for myself and others is that I never apologize anymore for my tears. I'm not one of those people, whether they're happy tears or sad tears. Yes, no apologies. Remember that line from that movie, there's no crying in baseball. There's no apologizing in crying, right? That's what I would say. And I know that even here in classes, someone will start to share and they'll start to cry and they'll say, I'm sorry. No apologizing. Being fully upfront with tears of joy, those moments where our tears of sadness or hurt show up, because it's in that willingness to be with each other in that space and be allowing of ourselves to be in that space that we can activate that heart that seeks expression through us. I never shame anyone in my life for their emotionality. I don't care how intense it is. I don't care how scary it is. I don't care if I'm with them and they have a feeling and I don't know what to do. In my world, in my experience, them expressing their emotions is more important than me feeling comfortable. So I have never said to my son, oh, stop crying, don't cry. Why are you crying about that? Instead, I've just tried to nurture him to the best of my ability, and I try to do that with other people and just be with each other. We get to stop making each other wrong. Aren't there times when we think, well, she's really great, but she's just so emotional. She's too emotional. She wears her heart on her sleeve. We need somebody. But what if that is a huge gift to be in touch with one's emotions. Now I get it. We sometimes get in touch with emotions and we don't know how to regulate. So we might need help with that. And so it's important to get help. But I think that we are suffering hugely in this world with anxiety and depression. And while a lot of it is chemical, there's a huge part of it is that we've been depressing our hearts. We've been depressing our emotions. We've been pushing them down, and that little brain is seeking expression through us. We have got to make it okay. And we've got to make it okay to have big dreams and to feel that heart that is guiding us and saying, what if? What if I could? What if we could? What if? That's part of the glory of the heart too. Every time we have one of those beautiful what if thoughts, that's the heart brain. Listening to it, acknowledging it, being with it. It's vital for balancing out our lives. And so we find that we can do this more powerfully if we make friends with our feelings. If we allow ourselves to experience our own emotional intelligence. That's a word that gets, a phrase that gets bantered about a lot. Emotional intelligence the term was first coined in 1990 by researchers John Mayer and Peter Salovey, but it was later popularized by psychologist Daniel Goleman. And it's defined as the ability to understand and manage your own emotions, as well as recognize and influence the emotions of those around you. Learning to do that is a great gift, and to be that is a great gift. And I think one of the number one keys for becoming emotionally intelligent and in touch with our little brain is compassion, compassionate living. I get it. There have been times when all of us have been in pain, where we've been struggling, where we were sad, where we had some great idea for how we wanted to live our life, and someone or someone's around us knocked us down, told us we couldn't do it, told us to stop being so pie in the sky or stop being so emotional. But those voices are scared voices from our past. So the unlocking right now that has to happen with compassionate living is we have to give ourselves possibly what other people haven't been able to give us up until now. We have to give ourselves compassion for our heart. We have to be compassionate when our heart breaks and when our heart aches and when our heart is happy and passionate and joyful. We are the only ones who can do that fully and completely for ourselves. And it's important that we learn how, and it's not always easy. I know it's not. In working on this talk, I had an incident this past week where I made a big mistake in my life. Nothing tragic that's going to harm our church or harm me or harm my life, but it was a mistake that I was ashamed of and that I was embarrassed about. And the truth is, no one would ever have to know if I just kept my mouth shut, right? One of those mistakes. But I was really being hard on myself. I think I can be harder on myself than anyone has ever been in my life. Yeah, I see a lot of nodding heads. We can all recognize that, right? And so I really was struggling with this mistake. So I decided when I get home, I'm just going to have the courage and I'm going to tell my husband, Ken, that I made this mistake. And so I told him. And he was so loving and so compassionate with me around it, and was so kind and was so supportive. And it touched me, number one, and made me feel so grateful that I have someone in my life who's so loving and compassionate for me. But later when we were talking about it, as I was crying, I said to him, "You showed me the voice that I could have for myself." And so we talked about how having self-compassion sometimes starts because someone else has compassion for you and shows you that it's possible for someone to love you like that. And if someone can love you like that, can you love you like that? And then it also showed me that the more I felt loved like that, the more I could be compassionate with other people. It just started this kindness, compassion, energy that was so profound. And the research is showing over and over and over again that kindness, finding ways to be kind to people we know and share this life with, and to people we don't even know but we hear about on the news, or we read about online, or we encounter on social media. We don't gain anything by judging and making wrong. We shut down the heart brain and we shut down this brain because it's just not who we're meant to be. But every time we exercise the littlest bit of compassion for ourselves and others, we open up to the greatness within us. And the more open we are, in that way, that heart brain that can love and have compassion for myself and others, quite frankly, the smarter we are. The more our genius comes through, the more the part of us that is the magnificent shines through us, and we can make a huge difference in the journey of our living and on behalf of other people. I'm calling us today to be the intelligence of the heart and to start with compassion and kindness for ourselves. A kindness challenge. How kind can you be? And kindness to oneself is something no one will ever know that you're doing. Just like no one would have known that I was walking around on a day last week completely not in compassion for myself. But upon experiencing it, it softened me so much that who I was and every decision I made after that experience was softer and sweeter and kinder. That's all it takes. One moment to truly change the world. I'd like to close with a story about my beloved stepfather, Richard Stedman. Married my mother. He was 57 and he'd never been married. So all of you out there who think you're never going to get married, take heart. Because they had a very happy marriage. He passed away about 1.5 years ago or so, and he was a very accomplished man, but he was in the Air Force during the Korean War. And he was a mechanic that worked on all the planes. And he was on a mission one day on a plane, very high up in the air. We believe there were about 10 soldiers on this plane, and all of a sudden, the hydraulic system of the plane crapped out. And he was an expert at the hydraulic system and worked hard to try to fix the plane. He and the other soldiers were doing everything they could because they knew that if they couldn't fix it, it was going to crash. They were all going to die. There was no way to make this landing, apparently. And so they worked and they worked and they worked on the hydraulic system, and they couldn't fix it. And they finally surrendered and said, well, I guess this is it. We're going down in service to our country. And Richard said he went and he got a coffee cup, and he filled it up with coffee, and he stood there by the window of the plane, knowing he'd done his best, taking a little bit of coffee, saying to himself, this is the very last cup of coffee I'm ever going to have. And I think in that moment when he told us the story, I could see his heart kind of light up like, well, if I'm going down, I'd go down with coffee in my hand, I'll tell you that for sure. But he'd get this little gleam in his eyes, and I could tell like he engaged his heart as he took those sips of coffee and just surrendered, opened his heart to going on to his next experience. Guess what? He got an idea. And he ran to the back of the plane, apparently, and he opened a panel you're not supposed to ever open, and he fixed the plane, and he saved all those soldiers. Yeah, thank you, Richard Stedman. A hero for many reasons in my life and in the lives of so many. And it's just one example, one little example of the genius that lives in you and me. When we open our heart, boy, talk about saving humanity. Talk about saving your family. Talk about saving your life. This is what happens. The genius and intelligence of who we really are just shows itself and it shines itself. It can't help it. And so I invite us into the intelligence of our hearts. Be wise this week. Be compassionate. Be heartful. Feel those feelings. Be love. Let's pray together. I invite our practitioner prayer partners to join me if they'd like by standing as I pray. We stand together in God as God. And one more time, just as I did at the beginning of the service, I invite us to breathe into our heart space. To breathe from that little brain, as they call it, and just feel the flooding of our hearts, filled with light and life. Beautifully, as Gary has sung to us and will again, unbound, fully available. This is the nature of the divine as it shines itself brightly and brilliantly through all creation. And it is the nature of the divine as it shines through, in, and as us, and as our beautiful hearts. What I know and accept, what I affirm as the truth of each one of us, is that our heart is beautiful, magnificent. Our hearts are the genius of our beingness. And if we are wise, we listen like never before to the beating of our heart, to the wisdom of the heart, to the purity of the heart, and to that love. We find ourselves anchored firmly and joyfully into the nature of our own heart space as we go forth in our life this week. And I accept and affirm that everything we are about, every relationship, every way that we serve humans in other ways as we walk together in this beautiful experience of humanity, as we share our gifts and talents, as we encounter experiences in the world, we are beloved heart places of light and love, shining brilliantly to transform our world into a better place, into a loving, kind, joyful place where every human can express their genius fully and completely. This is who we are. This is what is unleashed in us this day and every day as we go forth from this place. And we just give thanks. I give thanks that this is the truth of us, that we claim it, we proclaim it, we live it, we are it. It is so beautiful and so magnificent. And it is from this joyful awareness and recognition that I just release this prayer now into the action of that law that makes it so. This is so now. We let go and we let it be. And we say together, and so it is. Amen.
You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love that's growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound.
Thank you, Gary. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I am happy to report that we have a number of wonderful beloveds watching from all over. We've got Larry from Arizona. Hi, Larry. Sam from Tennessee. Debbie from Germany. She watches regularly. Hi, Debbie. Kimberly from Texarkana, one of our practitioners. Tanuma Tyra from Tokyo. And the cherry blossoms are in Japan, she says. Oh, I can just imagine that. Meredith from South Dakota. Heather in Nebraska. Oh, Mariana and Marty from South Carolina, my friends I knew in Arizona. And Dr. Raz, he's in Chile, Florida. It's only 55 degrees. We love you, Raz. Come home. Oh, it's wonderful, wonderful. And so we take this moment now to step into this time of sharing tithes and offerings. I invite us to do so from that heart space, to listen to our heart as we share today, whether it's to send a text to give or to pass something in the baskets, to go to the counters out there, to give online. We just allow our hearts to lead the way even in this sharing and circulation. So please say our affirmation with me now. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
Keeps
Thank you so much to our amazing Mile High Choir and their director, Stacy Landis. You guys are fabulous. Thank you to our Mile High Band. And to Gary Lynn Floyd, thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
And Gary will be out in the lobby if you'd like to meet him. He's got his music available out there as well. And if you are new to Mile High or here for the first time, we have a welcome center right in the middle of our lobby, and we have information on what's going on here and who we are. So please stop by and get more information about Mile High Church. And also our wonderful practitioners are down here in front on both sides. And so if you'd like a short affirmative prayer after the service, please come down front and they will be happy to do that for you.
Thank you, Reverend Carol. And we have an amazing care system here in our prayer and care center with our practitioner prayer partners. And next week we're having a care fair to show the community what it is that the prayer and care center does, how you can be cared for through grief, through divorce, through hospitalization or illness, and any of those things and more. So please be here, and they'll be over in the community center next week to highlight all that they do. I'm holding this pinwheel because our youth department is selling these pinwheels for the next few Sundays, 3 Sundays in a row, or the 3 Sundays of this program, plus at their extravaganza on the 8th. These pinwheels, when you purchase them, we're going to plant them out on our lawn. Every purchase benefits Ralston House. Now, I was raised in a home with physical abuse as a child, and Ralston House is a place that serves children. I could have gone there, I bet, when I was a kid, so I buy a lot of pinwheels, as you might imagine, and I encourage you to buy pinwheels too so that we can support any kids going through that challenge. And we're also happy to let you know that we have small groups occurring with regards to this series. The spaces are filling up fast, but you can go to the website and there's some availability in some of the online groups if you'd like to join us and get some connection going. So I invite you now to stand as we do our closing prayer and our peace song. So as we go forth, we do so in love, in light and wholeness. For we know that because of our open hearts, we are blessed and we are a blessing. Thank you, life, and so it is.